The thing that's being sold to us as the solution is actually the problem being sold to us as a solution. There's two main things that I'm talking about that has a direct impact over our wellness and our health, both physically, financially, emotionally, psychologically, even over life itself and our ability to live and feel well. So the two things, you don't have to agree with me or disagree with me. The whole point of this video that I'm making is to help you expand your brain and to think bigger and to find solutions that work for you. And also beyond yourself, other people that you know and how you interact with them to positively impact those people too. So the two things real quick. One, pharmaceutical grade medication being sold to us as a solution, it's part of the problem. And the other big thing that's sold to us as a solution that's part of the problem is to go out there, get a good job, earn some good money so that you can afford to provide nourishment and security and stability for yourself and for your family. Two big, unforgivable, unredeemable lies that programmed running people will absolutely defend and live their whole lives that way. So, the first one, pharmaceuticals. Sold to us as a solution. It was discovered about 100 years ago. I think the year was 1928, so not quite 100 years ago, but a long time ago. I think it was 1928, where it was discovered that pharmaceutical grade medications can create sickness, which would require medications, therefore you would never come off of them. So here's what the agenda is for the leadership of pharmaceuticals. It's to help people die as slowly as possible. If it takes a person 100 years to die, then that's just a wonderful golden cash cow of a person from their point of view. What they don't want you to do is to develop your free thinking capabilities and tap into your critical thinking faculties and start questioning that nonsense of actually poisoning an already poisoned and vulnerable immune system with more poison. But that's what we do. And when you look at it logically that way, how dumb and programmed does almost everyone have to be to not even question that? They just take their medications. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for medications. We need the medical community, but it is very, very badly abused. And it kills more people than nuclear weaponry ever has, ever in the history of mankind. We question nuclear weaponry, but we don't even question poisoning an already poisoned and compromised immune system, which kills more people than nuclear weaponry ever did, period, ever. Like, more than any war ever has, not just nuclear weaponry, but war. And we question war and we protest it all the time. But we don't even so much as question or raise an eyebrow, most of us. So, there you go. Pharmaceutical. Question your doctor, but don't be rude about it. Be polite, be friendly, be concerned about what's best for you and, the world as a whole. And do what's right for you. I don't give you any suggestions here that's going to undermine your healthcare professional. Just be a free-thinking person, start questioning things, and find a better way. It's the kind of skepticism and doubt that creates a bigger thinking, more expansive thinking brain versus the kind of skepticism and doubt that most people have that just makes them more ignorant. So be the skeptic and the doubter that creates a better, bigger, more critically thinking brain. And I think life is going to be more worthwhile for you. All right, so moving right along to this other thing that I think even fewer people question and maybe has an even greater negative impact. And that is, we are absolutely being sold to, as a solution to fund our livelihood, to nourish our families, create our security and things like that. We're being sold the best solution for that is to go get a high-paying job and maybe even go to school so you can get a higher-paying job so that you can work for money the rest of your life until you die or go into some kind of retirement. All right. That is the single most self-destructive piece of advice that anybody has ever given anybody, to go to work, to get a job, to work for money, and to work for a paycheck. That single piece of advice creates more poverty, it creates more codependency, it creates more slavery than anything else that could ever be advised among a public or a single individual person. And not only is this being sold to us, being perpetuated, being taught within mainstream schools of thought, but it's being programmed into us. And I use the word programmed very intentionally because most people, and by most I mean like maybe 49 out of 50 people, just run like they're programmed machines or something. Since birth, we've all been programmed to believe the thing to do is to grow up, go to school, and get a job so you can get a nice paycheck. We've been programmed that way since our birth. And very few of us actually question that and think, is there a better way? Most of us don't only follow along as programmed, but we also do as programmed by defending it. And when somebody has a contrarian opinion or an idea about it, like I do, we're typically made to feel inferior for it because that's not what you're supposed to do. But let me give you some logistics behind why I feel this way and why I believe this is the truth. That piece of advice to go get a job so you can get a nice paycheck perpetuates more poverty and slavery and misery than anything else. That is because when you sell your time for a paycheck, by default, you're also selling your mind, your body, your spirit, and your soul for a paycheck. Prostitutes have nothing on you. I'm just saying. And the problem with that is that you can never get away from it. The school curriculum was designed to set up by the major players in the world, specifically the biggest banks of the world, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and so forth, 100 years ago. They created the IRS, they created the Federal Reserve, and they also created the public school system curriculum, which really hasn't changed a lot since then, even though in 1971, the game of money has completely changed because the dollar is no longer backed by anything. It used to be backed by gold, now it's backed by nothing. That happened a long time ago in 1971, and they didn't even change the curriculum for that to reflect that. And that's when that's when the middle class started shrinking that same year, 1971. It's not even taught in schools, not in our public school systems, and it's done on purpose because very select, elite, evil, big business leadership, they want obedient workers who are going to earn a paycheck, earn a salary. That's all they want. They just want obedient salary and wage earners. Because if you stop running as programmed and you start to question it and you find a better way, something that actually does provide security and real nourishment and support and all these things, they don't want that. They want more for them and less for you. They want more for themselves at the expense of you and your family. And to add insult to injury, they want you to defend what you're doing, making certain people richer at the expense of yourself. It's another one of those things like, how dumb and programmed does somebody have to be to not even question that? And I don't say this to demonize anybody. I say it to demonize some of the stupid thoughts that we have and some of the dumb things that we like to protect. It's just completely stupid, and we rip ourselves off and our family off in the process. We also rip our country off in the process as well, and society as a whole, because we're all included on this together. But it takes more than just me and a few others to get out of that stupid system and get outside of that small box of thinking and living to make a difference. It takes more people, and that's why I'm making this video. I'm hoping I can have an impact at waking more people up. So, when you sell your time for money, you're selling your mind, body, spirit, as I've already just said a few minutes ago. But another huge problem with that is that the dollar, it's designed to lose money every year. So as you're making it, you're by default paying higher taxes while you're losing more money. You're getting further behind. And because it's a job, it's a salary, it's a wage, you have no control over how much you get paid, when you get paid, or if you're going to continue getting paid, because they could get rid of your job. Right now, it's no longer really being offshore. It still is, but not as much as it used to be. Right now, most jobs are actually coming back to the United States, but they're going to computers. You're losing your jobs to computers, which also makes the jobs that are left even less valuable, so they're not going to be paid as much. And recently, for the first time in our history, since we had a booming middle class, the middle class is no longer the majority. Did you hear that? The middle class is now the minority. You're going to have to pick, if you haven't already, if you want to be rich or poor. And the rich people, the true rich people measures their wealth by their time, not their money. There's some people that are so poor, all they have is money. But the true rich measures their wealth by their time, not their money. Enlightened people make the connection between being financially free and having their freedom of time. And if you're working a job, if you're an obedient salary or wage earner, you don't own your time at all. You have to keep spinning that hamster wheel, or you stop getting paid, which puts the livelihood, the nourishment, the security, and all that stuff of yourself and your family at risk. When you have no control, that is the essence of the highest risk possible. So your job was sold to you as this secure thing, a legitimate secure thing to provide stability, security, nourishment for your family. It's a flat lie. It's a unredeemable, unforgivable lie, because I mean, you're not lying about something unimportant. You're lying about the wellness, the safety, the stability, the nourishment of your family. They just flat out lied to you. And a lot of people telling you that lie, they don't really know it's a lie, so there's no intention for most people saying it. They're just saying it as programmed. But the leadership of select big business and pharmaceutical and FDA and select private business and banks and things like that, the leadership, some of the leadership in these positions absolutely know that they're lying, because they need obedient wage and salary earners so they can continue taking more from you and having you defend that because you're running as programmed. How dumb and programmed do we have to be? Do we have to act? You can draw a line in the sand. I did. 2007, I began drawing that line. Then I came to another realization a couple of years later, drew another line, and well, now here I am so many years later. But I no longer depend on a job for money, so I opted not to have a job anymore because I don't need one. It's a personal choice. I don't say this to bash jobs. I think it's great people want to have jobs, but for every person that has a job and that's their only source of income, then you're living in the most riskiest, most vulnerable place possible. And by now, a lot of people are waking up to that realization, and some are very, very slow and won't wake up to it until it's too late. But in one sense, it's never too late. So take these words that I've said, whether you agree, disagree, violently disagree, there's so much truth behind it, and you're either going to run as programmed or you're going to question everything, including this video. Question what I'm saying. Go out and do your own research. Learn some things. If I said something that caused you to learn some new things and to expand your thinking and to question the status quo, question these unforgivable, unredeemable lies that medication is here to help you, and that the solution for providing nourishment and security is to get a job for a nice paycheck, those are lies. Question all of that stuff and find a better way. Remember, it's the very rare skeptic and doubter that uses skepticism and doubting as leverage to grow themselves is going to have a much more worthwhile life and much happier than somebody who uses skepticism and doubt to shrink their brain, become smaller, to be a wimp, and to remain ignorant and even more ignorant. So choose your skepticism and doubting wisely. Question everything, including this video. My website, if you want to look up more about the content that I create, if you like this kind of stuff, it's fireyourboss.xyz, not .com. .com is a force of habit. I get it, but go to .xyz. That's me. Fireyourboss.xyz. I love that domain name. I'm so glad that I bought it. I've got thousands of pieces of content, all for free. I have a business. I've got a couple businesses actually, but I've got one business specifically that's online, and I love it. I love growing healthy, rich people that are questioning the status quo, tapping into their free-thinking, critical faculties, and even a healthy skepticism with me, for me, whatever. It's amazing to work with people who just want to think freely and find the truth. So fireyourboss.xyz, cherry pick from it whatever you need. Content to do with health, healing, happiness, freedom, financial freedom, and how true rich people are rich because of their time, not their money, and enlightened people connect the dots between financial freedom and their time, which is what makes them rich. Bye for now. Next video coming soon. Feel free to pass this along. Click share if you know somebody else who'd like this too. Bye for now.